Observe this common everyday action, pouring out of water from a glass. Watch as the person inverts the glass to drain out the water. Look carefully at how his forearm rotates to carry out this action. What do you see? This bone in his forearm is moving over the other. The type of movement is a rotation. The extent of the turning is limited. The bone cannot rotate completely around the other. This kind of a joint is called a pivot joint. So what is a pivot joint? A pivot joint is one where one bone rotates around an axis provided by the other bone. Now look at this action. Can you identify the kind of movement? It is a rotation and a limited one too, side to side only. This is another example of a pivot joint. This joint exists between the first and second vertebra or bones of the backbone. These are the first two bones of the vertebral column. You can see that the second bone has a projecting axis around which the first bone rotates. See, this movement is what we use to say no. Is the pivot joint a fibrous, cartilaginous or synovial joint? Since the movement is free and easy, it is a synovial joint. Have you ever bowled while playing cricket? The arm of the bowler turns full circle while bowling, doesn't it? So also does the leg of the gymnast. Movements such as these are possible at the shoulder and hip joints. These two joints offer the widest range of movements possible at any joint. Joints of this kind are called ball and socket joints. So what is a ball and socket joint? The bones in a ball and socket joint look like this grinding stone. One bone has a rounded depression or socket. The second has a rounded head which fits into the socket. The rounded end of the second bone then rotates freely within the socket of the first bone. In a ball and socket joint, the movement is rotational. The extent of the rotation is not limited like in a pivot joint. A full circle rotation is possible. Both the hip and shoulder joints are examples of ball and socket joints. But can you rotate your leg as easily as your arm? No. This is because the socket in the shoulder is much deeper than at the shoulder, making the movement more difficult. This difference in structure is also the reason why dislocation of the bone at the shoulder is more common than at the hip. Have you watched a door open and close? What controls how far the door can open? The hinge, located at the angle between the door and the frame. Some joints in a body too behave in the same way, like the opening and closing of a door. Just as most doors can only open one way, so also these joints. We call these joints hinge joints. Hinge joints are found at the knee and the elbow. Let us study the elbow joint to see how a hinge joint works. Observe the surfaces of the two bones. You can see that both of them are curved. See how the projection of one bone controls the extent to which the other can move. Hinge joints are also synovial joints. In gliding joints, the bones slide past one another sideways, allowing some movement, though not too much. At these joints, the surface of the bones is flat or slightly rounded. Gliding joints are found among the bones of the wrist, ankle, and vertebral column.